From transportation to telecommunications, healthcare, and banking, the digitization of our infrastructure has made our daily lives more convenient. But it's also opened us up to the threat of cyber attacks.
Yahoo's hack of over 500 million accounts would make it the biggest data breach ever.
Equifax, which, as you know, is a very large supplier of credit information, has announced a cybersecurity incident that they say potentially impacts about 143 million U.S. consumers.
Marriott announcing that up to 500 million guests with reservations at Starwood Properties could have had their data compromised.
But it's not just companies under attack. Increasingly, power plants and other critical infrastructures are also becoming a target.
Critical infrastructure is really anything that makes up the backbone of society.
Everything from transportation and airlines to banks. Cyber warfare is the new weapon of choice. You can run a cyber attack remotely, shut down the critical infrastructure of other countries, create massive destruction of refineries and chemical plants without ever shooting a gun.
We are in the midst of what appears to be a colossal and history-making blackout.
People trapped in elevators and buildings, they have activated the emergency command center.
You're staggering, trying to take in as much information as you can.
Mayor Bloomberg's advice is to go straight home.
The subway system is down.
Ottawa is completely without power now.
The lightning-quick domino series of failures.
Gotta go to the bathroom and you can't even go nowhere.
50 million people are thought to have lost power.
In 2003, a massive blackout struck major areas of the U.S. and Canada and was perceived as a wake-up call for the nation.
We've got a real crisis in our grid, and this is why, despite being a superpower, we have a grid that is comparable to a third world country, and that's not right.
But have 10 years of planning and preparation left us better off today?
I don't think you can ever say with 100% confidence we won't have a blackout.
We've seen a lot of articles coming out about how our grid is basically on the edge of failure, and they talk about how where the national grid is concerned, simple geography dictates that we're always just a few transmission lines from collapse.
We will suffer a catastrophic cyber attack. The clock is ticking.
This cyber threat is one of the most serious economic and national security challenges we face.
You've said that a cyber 9/11 is not an if, but a when. What would a cyber 9/11 look like, and how soon could it happen?
It could happen imminently. What would it look like? It could take many forms, but let me just give one that may come to mind, which is what happens when the electric grid goes down. We saw that during Sandy, and you see how that impacts everything from the ability to heat homes, to the ability to pump gasoline, to the ability to have lighting at night, everything. So when we look at the nation's critical infrastructure and where it is vulnerable, one of the vulnerabilities is through the cyber and the networked cyber world that we live in.
We all know, but still pay insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole. The COVID-19 crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber attack. To use the COVID-19 crisis as a timely opportunity to reflect on the lessons the cybersecurity community can draw and improve our preparedness for a potential cyber pandemic.
But the cyber threats of tomorrow won't just make our information unsafe, they could make our physical world unsafe too. The cyber threats of tomorrow could disable the cars that we drive, the airplanes that we fly. They could turn off power or water to cities across the country for days or weeks or longer. They could incapacitate our military or even turn our own weapons against us. The cyber threats of tomorrow could affect anything that requires a networked computer to operate. And increasingly, that means everything.
In Privacy Watch now, top cybersecurity firm FireEye says that its systems have been breached by state-sponsored hackers.
So FireEye, Anne-Marie, is one of the largest and most well-respected firms in cybersecurity. They develop software and sometimes even hardware that is designed to detect and prevent cyber attacks, kind of like this one that just happened. Their clients are everyone from JP Morgan to Target to the US government, even Sony. They were brought in after the movie hack. So they have built a suite of tools that is kind of designed to do what exactly happened to them.
There's also a new report about a former advisor to SolarWinds who claims to have warned the company way back in 2017 about just how vulnerable they were to a cyber attack.
Yeah, Lou, anytime you call a meeting on Saturday of the National Security Council, it's serious. I mean, this is almost like a prelude to war.
SolarWinds is an entry point into the rest of our entire U.S. critical infrastructure. So everything that touches the United States government, if you enter through this SolarWinds attack that we received, you now have access. You basically have keys to the vault.
We have been caught not only with our pants down, we have been caught so far behind the lines right now. This is just, I can't even tell you, it's like the equivalent of a nuclear bomb going off.
We're about to go into a dark winter. Unless we all recommit to the common sense measures that got us past the first horrendous months of this pandemic, we are in for a long, dark winter.
Britain is braced for a dark winter as new measures are...
We may very well be entering the darkest winter of our lifetimes.
I said in March it was going to be a long, dark winter. We're still in that long, dark winter.
People enjoyed the bright, sunny skies, just weeks ahead of what one doctor says most epidemiologists are predicting will be...
what we have been calling a dark winter.
We are headed for a very dark winter.
Without better planning, 2020 could be the darkest winter in modern history.
We're still facing a very dark winter.
Good morning, Doug. The head of the CDC is warning that a dark winter is looming.
A massive cybersecurity breach against the U.S. companies, many of them, as well as federal agencies. And there's still so much we don't know, including the full scope of the breach or the extent of the damage it has caused. But we know this much. This attack constitutes a grave risk to our national security.
This afternoon, millions of Americans are without power.
The sun's going down. It's going to get really dark, and we're going to have to light some candles.
Are you doing nothing, too? Nobody's doing anything today because there's no power right now.
No power. Nothing in here works.
There's no AC. Toilet doesn't work.
What are we supposed to do?
Where's everybody? We're stuck.
We got to get some water.
Wait your turn!
Daddy, when are you coming to pick us up? Oh, no.
The current blackout is the result of a cyber attack.
Why is nobody helping us?
American Blackout, a premiere movie event, Sunday, October 27th at 9 on the National Geographic Channel.